To the Evolution Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon DeKramer from Evergreen Foundations.
And I'm Christina Joy from Chaos Clarity Lab.
And today we're joined by a super cool contact, friend, colleague of mine, life coach Rob from Pure Life Mindset. How's it going, Rob?
Good, yourselves. Thank you so much for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem, man. I always enjoy our conversations. It's great to have you back. So Christine and I kind of run these episodes where we just kind of talk about different topics with our guests. We bring up things, we don't really plan it or script it. It's been super fun. We've had some awesome conversations. We're gonna do that no different today because of your background. And just, I've been watching a lot of reels. I've been watching a lot of things on Facebook and what people are talking about. I'm in the health and wellness space, so I try to keep up with the food environment. And man, I go to the grocery store these days, and the food is so full of chemicals, things we don't understand. We're finding out like Driscoll's raspberries and strawberries last week. They're an organic company in the United States. They were full of pesticides, well above the levels we should have. And I feel like this is something that has been getting worse over the last few years. What's your experience like in Canada with the food systems?
Yeah, well, definitely similar experiences here. Obviously, with the proximity to the States, North America in general is become problematic. I mean, the food chain is a freaking disaster at this point, right? So we really have to be mindful of what we're ingesting. And my experiences with, I'll go back a few years now. I mean, 6, 7 years ago, I was not paying attention whatsoever, as to what I was eating. I felt like I was relatively healthy. I felt like if I just went to the gym and kind of was okay with not cheating too much in terms of, eating junk food and fast food and all that, I would kind of wing it. And as I got older, now into my mid 40s, I'm like, I started paying attention a little bit more to what I was eating. And throughout my journey, as you know, through sobriety, I've been sober now almost 7 years. I've really taken a deep dive over the last couple of years on nutrition and the importance of clean eating and all of that. So I've really been paying attention more and more and more as to what I'm eating. And what I would say is a lot of people in North America specifically think they're eating clean, think they're eating healthy, think they're eating the right way, but we are being bamboozled, for the lack of a better term. I mean, the marketing schemes that are out there, every grocery store has a health aisle now, or two or three or five. And you think because you're walking down a health aisle that you're being healthy. But man, we are being so manipulated. It's crazy. So the marketing is a problem. Whatever, might say on the front of a label does not necessarily ring true. You really have to pay attention to what the ingredients are on the back of the package. I'll just give you a quick example. I did a reel on it the other day. Mayonnaise, we know is full of canola oil. It's garbage. So they've come up with, Heinz specifically, they've come up with a mayonnaise that says olive oil on it. So it says in big in front, olive oil mayonnaise, amazing. It's olive oil, it's good. You read the back of it, and the first ingredient is canola oil. Second ingredient is olive oil. So there's a mixture of canola and olive oil. So they're not lying to you. There is olive oil in the mayo, but how much of it is there? That's another thing, right? So you always have to be paying attention to what you're eating. So it's a huge issue in North America, and we are being slowly poisoned. Unfortunately, it's very sad.
You bring up a great point because not only do you have to know how to read labels, and it's so important, like you have to look at every label these days. And there's some hard stuff to understand, there's confusing stuff. But not only that, you have to learn how to read loopholes because they will put in ingredients that seem like they're fine, like natural flavorings. We know is a trap here that they put that on a lot of stuff, and that could mean anything and does. They use that to just slap on there so people don't know what they're putting in the products. So, yes, Jack actually just dropped in the chat. I seen that pop up. Yuka, and there's other apps like it where you can scan barcodes. I do this now because it'll give you like a rating on stuff. I know one product that gets sold a lot as a health product is Kodiak pancakes. They're like, we have protein in our pancakes.
Yeah.
We're really healthy for you because we have 16 grams of protein. That's this generation's favorite marketing thing is tossing so many grams of protein on a box, and then you look at the ingredients and it's awful for you. All they're doing is like throwing away protein in these products. It's absolutely nuts.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So many examples come to mind. I mean, I'll give you a personal example. My mother and my sister are both vegetarian, and they eat this meat, kind of replacement, which is I can't believe it's not meat or whatever. I'm not sure what it's called. And it's basically processed, all kinds of crap in there as a meat replacement, but it's horrible for you. How highly processed it is for you, how highly processed it is. It's terrible. And I tried to explain this to try to educate my mother and my sister, and they're not having it. They're vegetarian. They're in their mind, they're eating healthy. They're staying away from meat, which is fine. That's their choice. But does not necessarily mean that you're eating healthy whatsoever.
Yeah. Christina, what's your take on this? With the bus lifers look at the grocery crisis we're in.
Well, so here's the thing. As a nomad, our food choices can be seriously limited sometimes because it depends on where we are. Not only does it depend on where we are in the country, because different parts of the country have different kind of stores available. I'm in the South right now, and in the South, you're less likely to like run into a Whole Foods or run into even like a Trader Joe's, which a lot of their stuff is actually pretty bad too.
Yeah.
You gotta love a
Hmm.
Trader Joe's. But we're looking at like Walmart a lot of time, especially if we're, pretty remote, if we're on our way to somewhere, if we're camping in the woods or wherever we're parked, usually a Walmart's around or a Dollar General, which is even worse. But those are the easiest
Hmm.
places for us to shop because we know what's there. We know what we can find there. Chances are we need something for our buses, right? Or our vans or whatever we're driving in. Chances are something broke, something's messed up, something we got to fix. So like we just end up in Walmart all the time, which I
Yeah.
tried to boycott for many years, but you can't really as a nomad. It's hard. So when as I say all of that, the problem is that we have a hard time having consistent, healthy food available to us unless we're in a farm area and it's season,
Hmm.
because both of those things matter. And then if
Hmm.
you are in a farm area and it's season, oh, cool, we can get some local veggies, we can get some local fruits. What are their practices though? And they don't when local, produce comes around, you don't really get that information. Is this organic? Are you spraying a
Hmm.
bunch of pesticides? This place smells like nitrogen, so obviously there's something going on, and
Hmm.
so you just never really know. And it's a
Yeah.
challenge. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
We can't really grow our own food very easily.
And it's bucked
Mhm.
against. So me, Alicia and I like we're trying to do a lot to grow food, expand our garden. We're foragers. So we try to like go out into the land and find stuff that we can like reuse and stuff. And it's so mind blowing that we live here in Wisconsin and dairylands, farmlands. I will go to places and be like, "Hey, do you have like organic seeds or plants or heirlooms?" And they get very like snippy that you're asking. It's almost like, "Oh, why would you ask that?" Like we're snooty or something. And like they get instantly defensive, and it's always like, "Oh, well, we're farmers and we have to." we have to make a living too. That's kind of like the vibe of it doesn't matter if I dump 10 million pounds of pesticides on my food or use genetically modified seeds and stuff because we have to make money. That is like the answer that you don't even ask for. When I ask, do you have an organic or heirloom section? That's the answer you get. Like, they don't say no, they tell you why they don't. And it's almost like they're attached to doing the processes that make them produce in massive ways, which I understand it. They have to have a business, but to what to what avail to our health? And here we are in Wisconsin, farms everywhere, farmers markets everywhere. We live in a little tiny town about 25, 30 minutes from the cities. And the only grocery store in town has no organic food, is expensive as crap. You have to like hit the sales, and everything is just like bad for you. There's like zero access in that store or in this little town unless you drive to the city. Zero access to healthy, clean food. And nobody really knows it because they're not questioning it. They go in and they see the fruit and the meat and they're like, it's fruit and meat. It's good for me. But it's really
Mhm.
not.
Well,
No, definitely
and
not.
and I can speak to that too. Right now I'm in a small town out because St. Augustine is home for me, and I'm in a small farm town outside of St. Augustine called Hastings. Um, and the closest grocery store probably 15 miles away, and then there's probably another one 20 miles away, whatever. Um,
Mhm.
but you know what I see in a small town kind of area, and even in general, even in St. Augustine, the mindset around organic food. You bring up organic food and people are like they get agitated about it. And they're like, "Oh, I don't
Mhm.
that doesn't even taste good." There's like this negative connotation about
Mhm.
something being organic. And it's almost like you have to like push past I don't know. It's like they think that it's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
hurt them to have something organic, or that it doesn't align with their politics even. Like it turns into a
Mhm.
situation, if you bring up organic food
Well,
here.
and
Yeah.
scientifically, though, all the non organic, like all the genetically modified, I mean, all the food that we have carrots, bananas, oranges, the list could go on. Everything has been jacked up with chemicals for color, size, taste,
Mhm.
everything. So when you eat a clean, natural heirloom fruit or veggie the way it's supposed to be, it's dull, bland. It's different. It's not what you're used to with all the chemicals, and I think that's by design.
Yeah, yeah. I'll give you another example too. For that, my wife and I spent a winter in Costa Rica a few years ago, and they have papaya like crazy. Papaya, mango, pineapple grows everywhere. And I'm telling you, I never had such a freaking good papaya in my life than when I had over there. I was eating papaya every single freaking day. It was so tasty, so delicious, so cheap because it grows everywhere there. And then when I went to go buy a papaya here, because it's relatively rare, you can still find it in the grocery stores, but I never thought of buying papaya because it's in a small corner of the fruit department. So I tried, I bought a papaya. It tasted like nothing. You know what I mean? It just tasted like nothing, no flavor, no taste, nothing. So definitely, the way things are grown and processed and enriched and it kills all of the natural flavors in our fruits and vegetables, and it's terrible. But I would also say this, I mean, we can go deep down the rabbit hole, and I think that you can drive yourself crazy trying to make sure that you're eating the cleanest, healthiest produce out there. But I would say that if you stick to whole foods in general, you're way ahead of the game. Christina mentioned Walmart and all of that. That's part of the problem, is that they're the convenience of things, right? The fast food restaurants,
Yeah.
the Walmarts at every, on the highways. It's just the convenience of having a quick bite, a chocolate bar, crackers, whatever. If you can find a way to stay away from anything that is boxed, that's processed, and stick to whole foods, even though they might not be organic, we also recognize that those things are expensive as well. Not everybody can afford organic bananas, organic apples, and whatnot. If you just stick to whole foods, you're already ahead of the game, although they might not be, as good as an organic fruit. It's still much better for you than buying candy or chocolate or whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I actually, that brings up another point. When you said that you had the papaya in Costa Rica. So I've spent a lot of time in Tanzania. Several times I've been, and I've lived in villages and whatnot there. And I never used to like mango, and I never used to like avocados. Neither one of them. And the first time I went to Tanzania, I was like near a university there, and there were mango trees everywhere, monkeys in the mango trees. So it was a really cool
Amazing.
thing. But there were mango trees everywhere. And so
Mm.
I had a mango there, and it was the first time in my life I tasted it for what it is. Like
Mm.
and I used to try my mom's all the time. I'm like, ugh. And now, I
Mhm.
mean, I'll eat one here and like it, but I never really acquired that taste till I was there. And then
Mhm.
it was like 2019, I was working on my master's research, and I was in this little village, and he had like across the street from where I was like staying. I say street, it was like a dirt road, but anyway, across the way, there he had like 5 avocado trees. And he kept trying to give me avocados. I'm like, I don't really like them. I don't really like them. And they were big, right? And
Mm.
finally, one day, he's like, no, no, you're going to try it. You're going to try it this time. And I tried it,
Mhm.
and it was like almost sweet. Like
Mhm.
the flavor was so
Mm.
good. And now I want avocados all the time. So
Yeah.
it goes to show you, like, it really is different. And I believe that the nutritional value changes too. I've read that the
Mhm.
nutritional value is depleted because of all the crap that
Oh,
Yeah.
they use when they grow it here. And I mean, I know a
Yeah.
lot of our stuff comes from farms in other countries too. That's where a lot of our produce comes from. But those
Mhm.
farming practices are the beginning of the issue.
it starts with the
Mhm.
soil. Yeah, it really does. The food that like our parents ate is not the food that we're eating. The minerals
No.
are depleted. Rob brought up canola oil and seed oils and stuff. They're packing seed oils and everything. So
Mhm.
it's actually a great little subject to bring up. The ratio that we have now of omega-6 fatty acids, like like seed oils and all the bad oils that build up and oxidize in our body, is crazy compared to like our parents and our grandparents because we're under mineralized. Our foods are packed with omega-6s. We're not getting enough good fat. A lot of the generations, like right when we were like when I was a kid and stuff, like the late 80s, early 90s, I remember they were demonizing eggs for cholesterol, and like fat steak and saturated fat and stuff was just demonized. Like, oh, they cause heart attacks, they cause this, they cause that. There's a lot of studies that there's more coronary heart attack problems in vegetarians than there is in people who eat saturated fat. And we now know that like our omega-3 fatty acids have to be balanced, and it's insane. And I haven't even talked about folic acid and MTHFR genes, where our country, the United States, sprays everything with folic acid. It's a synthesized product that isn't freaking at all natural, that 80% of the population has a gene mutation called the MTHFR gene, which, if Rob, you've probably heard this, called the motherfucker gene. Like 80% of the population cannot methylate or break down folic acid. So what it does is it messes up our guts. We're getting anxiety, depression, and we don't know why, and we're getting on a medication when all we have to do is stop eating folic acid. I have this gene mutation. If I eat wheat bread at all in the United States, messed up. My guts, I'm sick for days. I'm bloated. I'm inflamed. Like just like terrible. Homemade or sourdough bread at home, not a problem.
Yeah, yeah,
It's the
yeah.
folic acid.
Yeah, you bring up sourdough. I mean, sourdough is definitely a better alternative than to regular dough. although you have to really be careful because now sourdough, the mainstream companies have caught on to the sourdough trend, right? So you
Oh,
can
no,
find
yeah.
sourdough everywhere, but not all sourdough is created the same, right? You have to read the ingredients. A lot of these sourdoughs have enriched flour and folic acid, right? So that's no bueno, right? So you really have to be careful. Homemade sourdough is a whole other thing,
Yeah.
but the grocery store stuff, you have to be careful. There are some good ones out there, but there are a lot of bad ones. So you really have to, again, be careful. Read the ingredients on the back because that folic acid, again, is no good.
Corporate stuff in this realm sucks because what they do is they wait for things to be super trendy. And if you look this up, I could it's like I follow this page and they released like 10 products that were good products, good companies, tortilla chip companies, and all these different companies that like made their they got known for being clean ingredient companies. Then they sell out to Pepsi, Frito-Lay. Like they sell out to these corporate companies. The corporate companies change the ingredients to make them faster. And then the product that people thought was healthy that they were eating is now completely processed differently again. It's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah. Yeah. Same goes with olive oil. I mean, olive oil, we all know olive oil is healthy. However, you have to be careful. Where is it coming from? Is it coming from three different countries? Is it being processed? Is it being mixed? You have to really be careful as to which olive oil you're purchasing. So again, reading the ingredients, where is it coming from? Is it cold pressed? So you always have to be, you can't be taking anything for granted, like as it is. You really have to take the time, read the ingredients, where it's coming from, how it's being processed, where it's being shipped to, how many countries is it going through. So there all these things you really have to be mindful of.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy because like I said earlier, it's almost like chemical warfare. You need like a science degree to go in the freaking grocery store these days because
Yeah, yeah.
it's so much.
Yeah, and
Um,
honestly, I mean, to go back to what Christina was saying about people's mindset towards, organic, when they hear people talking about organic, and it's like all of a sudden, well, like you're one of those people kind of thing. People have those reactions because we're so brainwashed. I was kind of one of those people too when it came to the gluten-free crowd. I was my background is in the restaurant business. I used to be a chef, and when I had somebody come over and say, do you have anything gluten-free? I'm like, oh, here we go, one of these people, the gluten-free people. And now I'm a gluten-free person, right? Because I'm educated now. I realize that gluten is not good for you, and a lot of people are gluten intolerant and don't even know it. Same thing with dairy. I used to take dairy in my protein shakes and whatnot, and I was always bloated, and I kind of always, put it to, it's a protein shake. I get bloated when I have protein shakes. It's kind of a normal thing, but the dairy was making me bloated. The dairy was making me gassy, and now I removed dairy. I removed gluten. All of a sudden, the inflammation in my body is just completely reduced. I feel so much better. So it's about educating yourself and opening up your mind to learning about nutrition, learning about our bodies. I mean, our bodies are our most important vessel tool, and we know nothing about it. It's crazy. We know nothing about our own bodies. We think we do, but we know nothing. We don't know how it works. We don't know how to optimize it. We don't know how to properly function. We don't know anything, how to feed it, how to fuel it. So I think if it's one thing that you should take the time to learn about is how to properly fuel your body and how to optimize your body. I mean, if there's anything that you need to learn is how your body works, right?
oh yeah. So finding out that all of our neurotransmitter chemicals, dopamine, serotonin, GABA, all these things that make us happy, give us mental clarity, um, and lower like inflammation in our brain and stuff, are made in our stomachs. And finding that out and going, You know what? Maybe my anxiety and my depression is like deeper than just the things I'm thinking or my life circumstances, or maybe it's deeper. And I went on like a self-discovery of my body and like listening and like eating certain things and being like, what do I feel like? I even had like a journal that I would write down, like, okay, these are the things I ate. This is what I felt like an hour later, 2 hours later, like brain fog at noon, whatever it was. And what I
Mhm.
found out was the folic acid, the gluten, for me, like a lot of, I was eating like oatmeal and wheat bread all the time. And like I was working out and still having a lot of like mental clarity, just like feeling not well, like issues within like a week of cleaning up and finding out, hey, maybe it's the wheat and the oatmeal. And maybe I cut out the oatmeal and I just do eggs and like some steak in the morning, and
Yeah.
like doing those kind of things. I didn't have to learn every ingredient. I didn't have to learn all this stuff. All I had to do was figure out what makes me feel like what after I eat it. Like really listening to yourself, I think is crucial.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I did the carnivore diet myself for a few months, and it's a pretty controversial diet. You know, is it healthy? Is it not? I don't believe that the carnivore diet long term is healthy for you. But what the carnivore diet did for me, and what does for a lot of people, it just allows you to reboot. It just cleans out all of the process, all of the gluten, obviously, the dairy, everything, and you keep it simple. You know, eggs, beef, and you allow your system to kind of reboot. And I did that for about 6 months steady, and I ended up losing 50 pounds. My energy through the roof. I started implementing intermittent fasting as well, which I still do to this day. And slowly over time, I reintroduced, fruits, vegetables, avocado, sweet potato, different things. But I keep my meals very, very simple. So I eat 1 to 2 meals a day, and it's basically protein centric. I make sure that I have my protein intake daily, and a sweet potato and a salad, and that's it. I keep it very, very simple. It doesn't have to be over complicated. People overcomplicate, which diet works, which doesn't. Keep it simple, whole foods. Make sure that you get your protein intake daily, and you should be good to go. And you don't need to stuff your face. A lot of people say, this is another brainwashing, is the breakfast is the most important
Huh.
meal of the day. That's another marketing scheme, right, that the cereal brands had implemented in the 70s or 80s, whatever that the case might be. It's like you have to have your cereal in the morning, you have to have whatever. It's just full of crap, first of all, those cereals, and you're not allowing your body to recover and recuperate. So when I started cutting out the breakfast, for me, I mean, I work out every single day. I lift heavy weights, and I'm in the gym in the morning, and I'm fasted, and I lift heavy, and it just, I've never been so strong in my life. And I have an empty stomach, right? So people just are completely brainwashed, and it's again about educating yourself and being open to trying different things.
So what would I mean, obviously you are very active. You work out a lot, more than the average person for sure. Um, but what would you recommend for like me, like the average person? I might go outside and spend 45 minutes doing yoga or maybe some Pilates a few times a week. Not very consistent, you know? And so, I mean, the way that you would eat would obviously be very different than the way I would eat. Well, what would you recommend for that?
For nutrition or for physical activity?
I guess for nutrition, because it
Well,
would be
again,
different,
I
right?
would just keep I would just keep it simple. I'd keep it simple. Stick to whole foods. That is the main thing I would suggest. Just stick to whole foods. If you just do that, you're ahead of the game. You're ahead of 99% of people out there. So if you're just sticking to whole foods, and make sure that you get your protein intake, whether you're physical on a daily or not, I would suggest make sure that you get your protein intake, which is 3/4 of a gram per pound of body weight. So for instance, if you're 120 pounds, you need approximately 80 grams of protein in a day. If you can stick to those markers and make sure that you stay away from anything processed, anything boxed, you're way ahead of the game. And I would also suggest, because the fact that a lot of our food, supply right now is completely compromised, I would suggest supplementation.
Yes,
Supplementation is almost a must. If it is not a must, yeah, I would say it's a must. It's a must.
I think it is.
Supplementation. Yeah.
Because here's the thing, it's for me, and I appreciate you saying 120 because it's definitely not 120. I'm actually not too far from that at the moment, but anyway, the reality is that for me to get the amount of protein that I need, I mean, I would be just basically eating chicken all day. You know, so it's almost necessary to have to supplement
Yeah.
somehow,
Yeah.
unless I'm going to eat a wild amount of fat too, or unless I'm going to eat a bunch of because you
Mhm.
can't, it's really hard to just get protein unless you're just eating straight tuna all the time.
well,
And that's not really good for you either.
Mhm.
Technically.
Yeah,
so
yeah, and that's the thing though. You have to be careful. I mean, you could have, I mean, you could go down the supplementation rabbit hole as well, because that's the same thing as the grocery stores. Everything is not, you might think is good, is not necessarily good. People think because they're having a protein shake, it's good for you. But what kind of protein are you buying? Is it filled with sugars, preservatives, you name it? You have to really be careful as what protein you're purchasing, right? So that's something that I would invite people to read the back of the ingredients on the back of the labels, right? Super, super important. But yeah,
I know so many gym guys from the year like the 2000s and fighters that I trained with that got diverticulitis, IBS, Crohn's, colitis, like all these terrible intestinal
yeah,
gut issues, bowel issues because of 2 to 3 protein shakes a day with all the
yeah,
garbage. It is such a garbage industry. There are the beautiful thing is there's a lot of good people in this world still. So when there are a lot of garbage companies, you're seeing an uptick in, like Jack brought up Yuka, the app that you can use.
I
And
use it.
there's an uptick in like ways to find out what's in food. And there's an uptick in clean, whole food companies that, yes, they might still toss in a natural flavor, but 75% of the ingredients, there's like 3 ingredients instead of 30. So like Rob said, whole foods, things that don't come in packages and boxes. You don't just need to eat need to eat meat for protein would be my advice.
mhm,
There's nuts, seeds. I'm getting into microgreens and learning everything I can. You can get a lot of protein density from microgreens these days, which a lot of people are selling. Broccoli sprouts, alfalfa sprouts, that kind of stuff to mix it up
mm,
and have
mm,
different things than just chicken breast and steak all the time. And yes, I 100% agree with Coach that supplementation these days is absolutely necessary, but it's
mm.
not what you think. It's not just taking creatine or protein powder. It's actually using a really good sourced Celtic sea salt every day in your water to make sure you get minerals. Like I mentioned, microgreens can be a supplement because you're getting minerals in a really clean, natural way. A methylated multivitamin, something that's already broken down that doesn't have filler seed oil ingredients and folic acid. The word methylated means it's already broken down from its compound form, and it doesn't have that folate. It actually breaking down into folate, which your body needs, and not folic acid, which a lot of the multivitamins have on the market. So look for the word methylated. But really, that's all you need these days is mineralization, hydration, and clean whole foods, and you don't have to overthink it.
Yeah,
That's my little pitch back into that conversation.
yeah, 100%. Don't overthink it. Exactly. Keep it simple. I agree, 100%. I agree. But yeah, in terms of supplementation, what I take on a daily, I have them in front of me actually. The I don't I stayed away from protein shakes for the longest time because I was one of those gym bros that took the protein shake every single day, and I thought I was doing a good job, and it was full of
And
sugar And then I just completely cut them out until I found the right one. My wife actually found a really good one recently. It's called Naked Whey. It's a
Yep.
grass-fed whey with nothing in it at all except for grass-fed whey. So this is really, really great. Doesn't taste like much, to be honest, but you could throw it in with you blended it with some frozen fruit,
Mhm.
some raw honey or whatever, and water, and it's fantastic, right? So that's a really good one. The creatine is also super, super important. I take 10 grams of creatine. I take this one here, which is fantastic. You can find it on Amazon. I,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
take I take 10 grams of that every single day. Creatine is inexpensive. Honestly, a jar like that, I think is like 25 bucks, 30 bucks, and you're good for at least a month. You don't have to take 10 grams. Most people, can get away with 5 grams a day. No
You're
problem.
Canadian. That's like it's like a 65, $70 American bottle, I'll tell you that. Protein is a scam. Like you're gonna $50 is like the going rate for everything here, and I hate it. It's
Mhm.
there are good ones though. That one's an awesome one, and it's that jar. If you don't get it online, if you were like to go local store, would be like $70.
Yeah, yeah. You have to online. You can get some good deals. Yeah, some of these health stores, they rob you.
Oh,
Very expensive for sure. Yeah, definitely. Vitamin D is another one that I take on a daily basis, obviously as well. It's vitamin D is super super important. We're super deficient in vitamin D, especially in North America, especially us up in Canada because we have no sun. So definitely important to get in your daily vitamin D intake. Another one that I've been taking now for just a few months now to regulate my blood sugar levels is berberine. Berberine is been
yep.
really really good as well.
That's
That my
something we
wife
forage.
got me onto. Sorry.
So that's something we want to look for and forage for. Actually, is Burberry plants. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's really good for you.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned the omega-3 earlier. I've been taking this Zinzino Balance Oil, omega-3. You mentioned earlier about the omega-3 versus omega-6 ratio, which is something that a lot of people don't know about is really because the problem is that omega 6s is everywhere. It's in processed foods, it's in restaurant food, it's in everything that's in boxes. We're inundated with omega 6s, and the problem is that omega 6 is inflammatory, right? And omega-3 is anti-inflammatory. And we are supposed to be, the ratio is supposed to be 1 for 1. We need both. We need inflammation, and we need anti-inflammation. We need to be regulated. It's like a balance. And the problem is with everything that we eat nowadays, our omega 6s is way out of whack compared to our omega 3s. We don't have nearly enough omega 3 intake in our food. So we're completely inflamed. And most North Americans are actually 25-1 omega 6 versus omega 3 in terms of our ratios, which means we're completely inflamed, and it's a major issue. So proper supplementation, again, making sure that we're taking the right supplements is super super important. So I mean, omega 3s, a lot of people know about omega 3s. A lot of people know that they need to be supplementing with them. A lot of people supplement with omega 3s. The problem is that we don't know if they work or not. We take them off the shelf and we say, okay, I'm going to take this. We have them in pill format, we have them in gel format, but we don't know if they're actually working. And this one with Zinzino, which is really cool, it's an actual liquid, and it's actually mixed with high quality olive oil from Cyprus, and it's fantastic. I've been taking it now for 4 months, and the results have been fantastic. Really good stuff.
It's appalling how a lot of us don't know that. And then fish oil is really poorly sourced. There's a lot of there's a lot of mercury. There's a lot of problems with how it's sourced. Um, and people don't. people will take the pills, man. The olive oil I really love, the Zinzino olive oil there, because that they use olive oil as a base and it's a liquid. Because I don't know if you've ever taken fish oil pills, but I used to freeze them because if you would swallow them for like three
Yeah.
hours, you would burp fish, and it was the worst thing ever.
Mm.
Like, oh my god. I don't know where I was going with that after I said that, but yeah.
Yeah, I know this one tastes like olive oil. It's really great. You could take it like on a you take it on a spoon in the morning. Either in the morning, you take it on an empty stomach, either in the morning or in the evening, and it tastes like olive oil. It's olive oil and lemon flip. This one's orange and mint, but the one I really like is the lemon flavored one. It tastes like salad dressing, basically. It's really really good. So it does not taste like fish oil at all. So it's very cool. Again, it's all about knowing what you're taking and taking the time to really educate yourself as to what you're fueling your body with, because without our health nothing else matters. And we tend to put our health like down, on the priorities list. We have our careers, we have our businesses, we have our families, we have this, that, whatever in our priorities list, and our health seems to always take the bottom. It's like, okay, when I have time, I'll look into getting healthy. When I have time, I'll go to the gym. When I have time, I'll start a diet or whatever. But it should be the other way around. You should be putting your health as the number one on the priorities list, because once you have your health in check, everything else falls into place. Everything else becomes easier. You become a better business person. You become a better family member, a better friend, a better person, a healthier person. You have more mental clarity. Everything just falls into place once your health is in check. And once your health is not in check, when your health is in jeopardy, nothing else matters, right? So I would highly recommend people just take a moment and really evaluate their priorities list and look at where they stand in terms of their health.
How? And so that's the next question. We are inundated with information. And a lot of it's bad information. A lot of it's incorrect. A lot of it is, I could YouTube how should I eat healthy? And all manner of things would pop up. And people don't have the kind of time it takes to sift through all of that and to learn all of that. And some people, I mean, to be fair, some of that really does require some level of education to even understand what it means. And so where can you go to get that information? Like where is the best place to find that? You
Hey, I'm
know,
Brandon DeCramer. I'm a health and wellness coach. I know all about this. I'll work with you one on one, and we can get you on a 90-day. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, I
yeah,
had to. You gave me the
I was
spot.
waiting for it. I was like, it's coming. But I mean, seriously, like, how do we do this? Like that's tough.
Hey, I hate to make it super simple, but I'm going to bring it back to what Rob said and make it super simple. Stay
Yeah.
away from sugar, sodas, boxes and bags, and just eat food. And then when you start feeling a little bit better, learn a little bit more about your body and about what tastes good, about what feels good. But if you stay away from the packages that have a lot of chemicals, and even if you can't get organic or grass-fed beef, like Rob said, you are one step above. If you aren't eating Cheetos and instead you're eating nuts and fruits and veggies and meats and uh, green leafy vegetables, and that's like 80% of your diet. And then you're out with a friend and you're like, hey, that piece of pie looks good. I'm going to have one. Who freaking cares? Because your body is a miracle machine. So if you're eating mostly whole foods and then you have a little bit of sugar or something, your body's going to kick it out. But if you're eating mostly processed foods and chemicals, your body stores all that because it can't kick it out. So when you're not eating, when you're fasting, your body will use all that whole food you're doing, and it will take the minerals and the vitamins and all the good stuff and store that and use it and then kick out the crap. But if you have mostly crap, your body stores the crap. So then you feel like, say it with me, crap. So so the easiest way is to just keep it stupid simple. You don't have to
Yeah,
learn anything. You don't have to grow anything. All you have to do is eat whole foods.
yeah,
Most of
yeah.
it.
100%. 100% agree. And for myself, I mean, I would also invite people to take their blood tests every once in a while. For myself, I've been doing it now for a couple of years, because your blood doesn't lie, and there's a lot of things that you can address when you know where you stand, right? So I've been taking now my blood test for 2 years. Every 3 to 6 months, I get my blood test done. You can easily get it done for a couple bucks. You go to private. um there are places all over the place. I'm sure in the States as well, you could get your blood test.
You can go to your doctor if you
Cost,
have insurance, or
yeah,
if you don't, you can get
yeah,
a methylation test. I've been saying that word a
yeah.
lot, a button test, but you can get a methylation test, and they will
Mm,
tell you, especially if you're on medications. This is crucial. Our daughter has autism, so we don't do medications. We did a normal or natural route, try to cut back on dyes and sugars and different things. We haven't
mhm,
gotten medications for reasons. But we got a methylation test and it was eye-opening. She had the
mm,
MTHFR gene. It told us what medications would respond poorly in her body, her science, not what we think, but actually what her body is going to process. And half of the medications they were going to request or tell us to use were all ones that were like, red alert, don't do these. Your body will not process it normally. So
mhm.
knowing that is crucial. So I'm gonna, yeah, totally back you up on the blood test. It's eye opening when you know what your body can and can't produce or break down.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned medication. That's a whole other thing. I mean, we're so brainwashed as to, okay, well, something's properly not properly functioning. Okay, take a pill for, there's a pill for this, there's a pill for that. And instead of having a mindset of addressing things when they're already a problem, shift the mindset to a preventative mindset. There are ways to, make sure that you are healthy, by eating clean and whatnot, and taking your methylation tests and being aware of your blood tests, your markers, and addressing them before they become a problem. Personally, I used to be on antidepressants. I used to be on cholesterol medication. I used to be on high blood pressure medication, sleeping pills, all at once, all at the same time. Okay, I had a bag of little candies that I'd have to take on a daily basis. At 38 years old, I mean, it's ridiculous, right? And now at 44, I take no medication whatsoever. And I wouldn't say, just stop your antidepressants. If you're on antidepressants, I mean, you can't just cold turkey it and stop your medication. I wouldn't say that. But there are ways of weaning off of it. There are ways of preventing that. And a lot of the time, Brandon, you mentioned it earlier, depression might be caused by a lot of things that you. Sorry, what are you going to
Starts in the
say?
gut. It starts in the
Yeah,
gut.
yeah,
Where
yeah,
does
yeah.
everything?
The gut, exactly, and what you're intaking. Your gut affects your brain, right? So what you're feeding your body might actually be the cause to your depression, which is crazy to think, but is it could be true. So there there are ways of preventing that, and for me, I've never felt greater. I've never had so much energy in my life, and it's all due to the fact that I've looked at my nutrition, took the time to educate myself. Christina, you mentioned earlier, a lot of people say they don't have the time, that they should find the time, because that is super important. And people can find the time. I think that a lot of people are full of excuses if they just look at how much, their screen time on a daily. How much time do they spend on social media? How much time are they watching, spending time watching Netflix in a day? And they say they have no time. I'm sorry, but I disagree with that. You can find 15, 20 minutes a day to educate yourself on your health. It's so important, right?
Why is it? And as we wrap up, maybe this is a good little ending thing for us to ponder. Why is it that it is looked at as hard, inconvenient, sometimes impossible to like I hate the word diet because then that's what's done it. A diet is like, oh my God, this is an impossible thing. It's something I have to do that's so hard. But going to McDonald's every day, buying Doritos every day, and then ending up on medication and being in the hospital and feeling like shit, that's all worth it for convenience and like just going with the flow. But the other way, like, seems so hard. But really, it's just picking different foods, moving a little bit more, throwing some salt in your water and drinking some water. It's just doing like little tiny things, skipping the fast food. It's doing small things that seem like mountains. And that's
Mhm.
what's never, I've never wrapped my head around that since I've been in like, and I think it's marketing. I think it's habits. It's convenience. I mean, the microwave destroys our food, yet everybody knows that. Yet here we go tossing stuff into the microwave. Yeah. What do you think? Why do you guys think it seems harder to be healthy than it does to do things that keep you sick?
Think it's because I think there's an intentional situation there. I do believe that. I didn't always believe that, but I do now that we are just inundated with a lot of things that make us feel like total shit all the time. And
Yeah.
and it's hard. Again, I'm in a very rural area. It is hard. And there are farms all around me. I'm literally in the middle of a field that's a farm. And
Mhm.
it's still hard to find fresh produce within 15 miles of here.
Exactly.
Mhm.
But I can go to Dollar General and I can buy 700 things in a box that are all terrible. And anybody in this nearby community who doesn't have a vehicle, they don't even have access to
Yeah.
produce. They don't even have access to like any foods like that at all. It's not even available to them. And so that's the problem. I mean, I think that that's a big part of our problem, at least.
It is.
Yeah.
Access
Yeah.
to good food, it is a total problem. There was a study or a documentary I watched or something where they were talking about these two California cities, and I forget where they were, like maybe like the Modesto type of area. Um, and like they weren't very far apart. They were separated by like a bridge and like a little wall of a valley or something. And one town had like really good access to like Whole Foods and all these places and like had really good grocery stores. And it was a more like affluent kind of area, demographic, made more money, wealthier city. And then like right down the road, they had like less access, no good stores, all fast food, all like quick, easy, convenient, cheap, addictive.
Mhm.
And they did a study on like that median age, health problems, cancer. They dug into like a lot of things and compared the two cities, and it was mind blowing, like mind blowing. Like the average age of like the city a mile down the road was like 60. And the average age in the city that had access to the good, clean food and water was like 90. And like less, like it was like 100, like 80% less cancer, 80% less ADHD, autism, like all these numbers were way, way mind blowingly less in the city that had more access
Mhm.
to better non processed food. So there is a lot to this, and the chemicals, the addictive factor. Processed sugar is a nightmare. A lot of people know my story. I have come off of meth and oxycodone and alcohol. Sugar detox is worse, and like actual detox from all sugar of your life. I had more trouble with mentally than I did with actual like coming off of pretty hard drugs. Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah. Crazy stuff. But I think it really comes down to awareness, and once you're aware of something, then you can address it, right? The problem is that a lot of people are not aware of the situation. They're not aware of what they're eating. They're not aware of the fact that the system is designed the way it is to keep us, dumb and sick, right? So once you're aware of something, you can address it. And I know it's easier said than done, but you might have to move. You might have to change some habits. You might have to have some difficult choices to make. It's not easy, but once you're educated, once you know what you need to do, what not to do, then you could do something about it. For myself, we know, 10 years ago, I didn't know what I know today. And now we know that North America, unfortunately, the food chain is a mess. And we know that the situation in Europe in terms of nutrition is a lot better. So we're actually thinking about moving, because we want to live long, healthy lives. My wife has background. She's Greek. She was born in Canada, but she has family in Greece. So we're considering moving to Greece because we know that the olive oil is the quality is a lot better. The breads are a lot better. They're not processed. There's no enriched flour and all of that. The fruits, the produce are a lot better. So we're thinking about our family and like what's best for us and our family, and we want to live long lives. So we might have to make a difficult decision and move in another country. That's what we consider is important for us. So again, it starts with awareness.
Yeah, definitely. And once you get that awareness, and I know you could probably speak to this in your sobriety and getting to healthier and listening to our bodies, like we said, like once you get that awareness, I think when you start to feel things that you've never felt, because maybe you've ate processed food most of your life since you were a kid. Maybe you've
Mhm.
been in certain cycles, and then you start to feel clearer, the energy, the like just feeling better, and you go, it's not, and then you eat a cheeseburger from McDonald's, or you eat some Doritos or something. You're like, oh man, I feel like crap now. I
Mhm.
think that awareness is what starts to really flip in people. It's like, it's almost like when you stop drinking and you're like, why? I don't want to feel like that when I wake up on a Sunday morning.
Mhm.
Like, that's not fun. Like, feeling like I'm gonna puke and have a headache. And like, then you start to get sober and you're like, yeah, I don't want to ever do that again. Like, I think it's the
Yeah.
same thing with when you start cutting back on sugar and processed foods.
100%. Yeah, yeah. Once you start eating clean and then you have that little cheat day or whatever, that cheat meal, and you feel like shit, and you know exactly why you feel like shit because of what you just ate. So yes, once you kind of unplug from the matrix, and then you can see once you get back in, it's like, oh my God, you're just more aware of what it's doing to your body, right? When you're it's the same thing with alcohol for myself. I know what it does to you, and it just I would never risk having a drink just because I know that how terrible it is for you. So yeah, I definitely resonate with what you're saying there.
Mhm.
Well, guys, this has been a fun talk. I just looked at the clock. This went by fast. Like, we could probably talk for 2 hours about stuff. Coach, I really appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me, guys. Really appreciate it, and I really enjoyed the conversation.
And actually, we have an event, you and I, on the 27th that we are going to be getting some people together that we're going to talk about supplementation, and specifically the fish oil more with some guest speakers. So I'll be looking forward to seeing you again and promoting that here in the next couple of weeks.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to be having a special guest speaker. He's a longevity expert from San Diego. He's an expert in blue zones. The guy's been all over the world. I believe 86 countries. He's been to. Very knowledgeable in terms of nutrition, supplementation, and specifically omega-3. So yeah, definitely a must watch.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, when I met him last week, he was like
Mm.
Gary Brecka in real life, like human biohacker. Like, I was like, I need to be friends. And I want this guy in my network. This is awesome. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to doing that. Um, Today's episode is sponsored by Karen Falkenberg at A Health from a Limitless Future, on Skool and TigersEyeLife.com. So check out her and Ryan McQueen. They're amazing fitness instructors and coaches. If you're ever looking to get into more fitness in your life, look up those guys. Coach, Pure Life Mindset, my amazing co-host, Chaos the Clarity Lab on Skool and on YouTube. Look us all up because we like to talk and be in your world if you need things that we can help with. Christina, any last minute goodbyes?
No, other than goodbye.
As always, this has been the Evolution Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube. I'm Brandon DeCramer from the Evergreen Foundation's Apothecary.
And I'm Christina Joy from Chaos the Clarity Lab.
Thanks, Rob. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you
Bye,
next week.
guys.
You.